Good afternoon and welcome to our Inbound Solutions for Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery webinar hosted together with KCOM. If you've been following our marketing communications over the last couple of weeks, you'll have noticed business continuity and disaster recovery has been at the forefront of everything we're talking about. This is because BCDR is such a hot button topic in the world of IT, yet we were surprised to learn how few businesses had plans in place which encompass their entire technological estate, leaving many exposed. Given that disaster can strike at any time, it is vital you have a plan in place ahead of time, otherwise you risk an incredibly detrimental effect to your business. In fact, according to the study done by the UK government, around half of all businesses that experience a disaster, which have no effective plans for recovery, fail within the following 12 months. However, you are all here and listening to this call, so you're already making steps in the right direction. There are a number of different elements you need to consider when constructing an effective BCDR plan, such as data, connectivity, monitoring, and of course, our focus today, voice. To help you with this process, we recently published Ultimate Guide to BCDR, which is a great place to start. Before I hand over to Mo, who will be taking you through the Myriad platform, I thought it would be useful just to highlight what disaster recovery actually is. To many, when you hear the word disaster, you tend to conjure up images of hurricanes or earthquakes, that kind of thing, which it does of course include. However, things such as cyber attacks, power cuts, adverse weather conditions, human error, system failures, high unexpected call volumes also all fall into this bracket too. And what's more, the list goes on. Therefore, a disaster recovery plan is a set of policies and processes which are reactive in nature, triggered by a scenario occurring, which allow you to recover your technology, infrastructure, or communications. By having a plan in place, you can contain the issue early, mitigate the impact, and achieve the goal of returning to as business as usual as quickly as possible. And one of the ways you can do this with the voice element of your business is through the Myriad portal, which Mo is now going to take you through. Thank you, Mo.
Thanks, Elliot. Hi, my name's Mohammed Khalik, and I'm here to assist Elliot today. So before I progress, I'm quickly going to go through the agenda for today. So I'm going to take you through the dashboard, talk about the stats, what's available, and the overall options on the homepage. Then the service designer, the drag and drop grid, call flows and how easy they are to build, and a brief touch on various nodes and their capabilities. Then we shall move on to disaster recovery features and options, call queuing and load balancing, where do calls go at peak times, handling high level of calls, and we shall finish off with post reporting the types of stats that are available and who can receive them and when. And then I shall pass back to Elliot, who shall do the Q&A session and also finish off today's session. So throughout the webinar, I will be providing you a brief overview of Myriad and its capabilities, covering off the main features for disaster recovery and how they can add value to any business. So Myriad deals with real-time management, control and reporting of the inbound numbers, and these are geographical and non-geographical numbers beginning with 01, 02, 03, 08 or 09. We can easily take BT numbers and reside other PBX or switch numbers and transfer them over to the Myriad platform or set up brand new numbers within Myriad. So Myriad is basically a cloud-based tool which can be used to manage call flows and data from inbound numbers to be answered at points of your choice. I'm now going to move over to the Myriad platform. So here you will see that there is a secure URL. And the first part of the URL is unique to any organization. For me, it says mo.advancedservicesportal.com. So normally it would say the organization name first and then .advancedservicesportal.com. So I shall now log in. Here you can see the main home page. It shows a dashboard that provides a real-time overview of the service. Each user can have as many dashboards as they need depending on the type of insight that they require from the platform. These dashboards can be used to monitor, report or control single or multiple numbers. So this is the default dashboard that comes with the account. I've created another one here which I've called My Dashboard. So I'll talk you through some of the slides that I've created for this one. So here on the left we've got total calls today, total calls this month, this week. We've got total minutes on these slides here. We've got call outcome today, 46 answered, 3 unanswered. Calls this week, we've got live call outcome here. And then we've got a live queue here showing us average wait time, max wait time, average handling time. We've got live DCA call status here, so how many agents are signed in, how many agents are ready to take a call, how many agents are unavailable, so they'll either be in wrap up, comfort break, lunch, etc. And you've got service levels as well. I've got an overall slide here for my account which shows how many conferences are taking place right now, how many calls are queuing, how many calls are being recorded, how many calls are connected, and many more. If we click on edit here, we can add, remove, change the dashboard. We can add tiles, select them from here and bespoke them to suit what we need to see. So you can select whether you would like to see data for the entire account, division, or for a single or group of numbers. These tiles can provide real-time data on queued calls, average queue time, average handling time, or even maximum queue time. They provide an important insight that can be used to improve the caller's experience. So the data updates on the dashboard within 5 seconds of a call taking place. The dashboard can also be used as a wallboard when necessary for real-time queue reporting, for instance. We're now going to move on to the disaster recovery. If inbound sales and service calls are central to a business, any interruptions in receiving them can have a huge impact on customer experience, satisfaction, and lost revenue. With Myriad, however, businesses can be safe in the knowledge that they will receive every call, every time, even in the event of having people, equipment, or line issues. So Myriad hosts all numbers in the cloud. If they can't deliver incoming calls to the default call flow and destination, they can be rerouted to one or more alternatives. One way to set up disaster recovery is to set the call flow to automatically fail over calls to another site or group of individuals. This can be done using Service Manager or Service Designer within the portal. So for the purpose of this, we shall use Service Designer. So we go to Service Manager, and from here we can navigate to Service Designer. So Service Designer is the drag and drop grid for the Myriad portal where we can build call flows. So we should switch to Service Designer here. So we've got nodes here on the right hand side. We can pick and drop into the grid to build our call flow. So we shall go with deliver call. So this is your typical one-to-one translation. Call comes in and delivers to a destination. So if we go into properties here, we can add a destination number. We've got a number of features here within each and every node. So with this one, we've got override CLI, we've got restrict CLI, we've got record calls, so we can record a percentage or all of the calls or even on demand. We've got mid-call divert, call whisper, ringtone, etc. So basically a call comes in and delivers to this destination. However, in this instance, we are going to have an alternative failover. This can now deliver to an alternative destination, so we can add an alternative destination number here. And there we are. Within minutes, we have created a call flow that covers us for disaster recovery with failover. Another way of setting up disaster recovery is to have multiple plans set up against a number. So if we go to a number, in numbers, so we've got this number which is set aside for this demo. We've got 3 assigned services with this number against this number. So if we go into assigned services here, we know that the third plan is active. So there's 3 plans against this number. So if we wanted to activate the main plan, we simply click on activate, OK. We can now see that that plan is now active. So within seconds, what I've done is I've switched the plan for that number. So it doesn't have to be disaster recovery. We can have multiple plans for various reasons. It could be Christmas, bank holidays, seasonal demand, etc. So disaster recovery doesn't always just mean that the lines have gone down. It could mean that the internet connection has also gone. Myriad is accessible on all handheld devices, whether they are Android or iOS. If 3G and 4G is not available, then we can call the live platform to change the plan. So once you have entered your user ID and PIN, you will be prompted to either enter a service number or a number group ID. This means you can choose to either update a single number or a group of numbers. After entering that information, you will be given the option to either enter a plan ID or to enter a service ID, which will then allow you to change the plan. Okay, we shall now move on to seasonal demand, which is call queuing and load balancing. So what happens when there are more inbound calls coming in than the lines, hardware, or the call handlers can actually manage? There may be queuing available on the hardware, but what if calls don't get as far as the PBX? If call patterns are seasonal with peaks at certain points of the year, it isn't necessarily cost effective to constantly have additional capacity in place. When inbound calls are being delivered to a single site, it may be better to load balance across multiple sites, and Myriad can easily put this in place. So up to 200 calls can be delivered to one or multiple sites, with another 300 held in the cloud at any one point. So I'll move back to the Myriad platform where we'll use Service Designer again to build this call flow. This time we'll use some different nodes just to demonstrate the capability of the platform and the features it has. So we shall use CLI routing, which is used to filter the calls. So we can filter by region, north, south, etc. Or we can block certain callers. So if we go into properties and say, for instance, we wanted to block mobile callers, we can quite simply do so. So we have now blocked mobile callers. We can send those calls to a voicemail. We can use the time of day node and set up our operating hours. So if we go with 9 while 5, save changes, anything out of hours again can go to a voicemail, for instance. Then we may want to have an IVR menu in here. And if we go into properties, we can upload an audio here, which would be a welcome audio for the IVR menu, which would then go on to say something like press 1 for customer service, press 2 for billing, etc. So this would be customer service. Then you'd have another node here for billing, for example. So if the customer service team was receiving more calls than the agents can actually handle, we can load balance those calls. We can filter those to a group of individuals or a different department that can handle those calls. We can even distribute those calls further if required. So this is load balancing and call queuing. It's also disaster recovery at the same time. So disaster recovery doesn't always mean that the entire organization would lose services. It could just mean that one particular department has lost service. So it could be customer services. And those calls are still being dealt with by the organization by rerouting those to other departments and individuals that can handle those calls. Okay, so we have now covered off disaster recovery, load balancing, call queuing, seasonal demand. There are many other challenges that organizations face that Myriad can address. Some of those are calls are simply being unanswered, which is giving the end user poor experience. Organizations struggling with a high number of missed calls, organizations that need to offer out of hours services, managing the utilization or productivity of skilled staff using the right people at the right time, managing unexpected peaks, and there's many other challenges that organizations face that Myriad can address and help. Some examples are here. Call centers need the ability to route calls based on capability. Home workers need the ability to overflow to further help and support when needed. Sales teams constantly need stats, so whether they are real-time stats or historical stats, they're all available within the Myriad portal. We're now going to move on to the Pulse section of the portal, which is Myriad's powerful reporting analytics tool. Provides detailed reporting options. So we can either search by account or numbers. So if we go with call records, for instance, and we search against a number, we can select a date range here. Generate report, and there we are. So we have the call ID, which is generated by the Myriad platform. We've got the call start time, call end time, we've got the dialed number, description, calling number, and the called number, which is the end destination number, whether it was withheld or not, the duration, call result, whether it was answered, unanswered, or failed, time to answer. We can download this as a CSV or an Excel file. We can add a schedule, so who should receive this and when, and we can set the frequency, as in daily, monthly, or weekly. And there's so many other reports that are available, stuff like multiple audit, longest call, agent-based, entire account examples. You can search against numbers or multiple numbers or teams, etc. So Myriad adds value to your business, giving you the ability to record calls, create IVR menus, CLI routing, providing that customer service, build, manage, and switch your call routing to suit your customers, managing your resource effectively, agent flexibility, admin management tools, they're all available within the Myriad portal. So it's a market-leading features and quality of service with 99.99% availability backed by robust SLAs for our core inbound services, giving your customers the confidence that their inbound call handling is in safe hands. And some of the features are up and running in minutes, in-depth reporting and statistics, accessible from anywhere, any device. So what's in it for you? Completely user-friendly, it's intuitive and non-technical, so staff training can be undertaken easily and is non-time consuming. Changes can be made in seconds as Myriad is integrated into the KCOM network. The changes can happen in near to real time. I shall now hand back over to Elliot, who will do the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. So as you can see, Myriad is a really simple and easy to use solution. So much so that with the drag and drop features, no matter what your skill level, you can make a huge impact on your business's BCDR plans in just a matter of minutes. Even better still, the solution requires no hardware and will sit on top of your existing infrastructure, meaning it is a great add-on that removes all the stresses and headaches around your phone system without breaking the bank. Just a heads up, we'll be sending a recording of this webinar to everyone in case you missed anything. And don't forget to download the Ultimate Guide. Thank you for your time this afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day.